in this session हम लोग क्या करने जा रहे हैं कि we are going to put a detailed roadmap with the targets, with the time assigned for the 2025 civil service examination. Any plan is good only when you implement it. So this roadmap, this plan will be holding good, will be benefiting you if you are implementing it. Without plan, you will be drifting along the way and that will not be leading you to success. That is one definite thing. You can pick up certain elements from this plan, implement them as much as possible because it is very hard to implement any plan end to end, word by word. But at least all of these things which I am going to share, even if you accomplish 80% of it, 75% of it, that will be a huge advantage over your competitors. Okay. So try to adopt this plan, and if you are already following some other plan, then and if you think that plan is very good, then stick to that plan. From here you can pick up a few elements, you can incorporate in your existing plan and you continue implementing that. But if that is not there, if you don't have a solid concrete plan for the entire journey until 2025, definitely this is a plan to go for. Now let us start. So what all we are going to discuss one after one. So first and foremost, let us do some time calculations. And I think whatever I have written on the screen is clearly visible to all of you. So first and foremost, we are going for time calculation. So if you look at time calculation, so in this year, let us consider February as gone. Although you have entire half of February, but there are going to be festivals, there are going to be some family functions, some holiday that you would want to take. So let us discount the 15 days that we are as of now left with February. So minus February, you have exactly 10 months in this particular year left. And in the coming year, you are left with 8 months because you should be skipping the examination month of September. So until the end of August, that is 31st August 2025, you are left with 8 months. So 10 months and 8 months, exactly 1.5 years, 18 months. Okay. Then for all purposes of preparation and phasing of preparation, that you are dividing the preparation into different phases, the 10 months which you have got available in this particular year, you will be dividing these 10 months into two blocks. 6 months after the end of February. If you can start right now, start right away. But 6 months and then the remaining 4 months. So that is how you spend the 10 months of this particular year. And when it comes to spending the 8 months of the examination year 2025, so January and February are your first chunk of, they constitute the first chunk of 2 months. There are specific things that you would like to do in these 2 months. Then March, April and May, that will be basically your run up to the prelim examination, where your focus will entirely be towards the prelim examination and securing it. And the byproduct of this intense preparation towards the prelim examination will be that you will be very, very fluent with so many factual aspects for the main examination as well. And then comes the last 3 months where your entire focus of time, energy and everything should be towards preparing yourself to your best shape for the main examination that is going to happen in the month of September. So that's how the next year is divided into three parts: 2 months, 3 months, and finally another 3 months. And this year, one big chunk of 6 months, and then one smaller chunk, but not such a small chunk. If you see next year, you are not getting any single chunk of 4 months even. So one a smaller chunk, but not so small, of 4 months. So that is how the year 2024 and year 2025 would look to you. So here we are, the 10 months here, 6 months here, March, April, May, June, July and August. So 31st of August and you are out of the first 6 months. Okay. A start, I would say, right from tomorrow, day after tomorrow, but not later than that, because these 15 days that you are looking as your extra time, they will just evaporate. Let 2-3 months pass by and you will see in these 2-3 months only you have exhausted 7 buffer days out of 15 days. Something or the other will keep happening which will make you less efficient on certain days, which will make you even zero study on certain days and all, so start right away. The second 4 month, second chunk of 4 months, they happen to move from September until the end of December. And then you come to the 2 months of January, February, 3 months of March, April, and May. That is your run up to the main, and June, July, August is basically your run up to the main examination. That's the time that you are having. Now, 1.5 years is nothing when it comes to an enormous task as preparing very well for the civil service examination. Lot of people take 2 years. So anyone who thinks 2025 examination is very far, I can relax a bit, I can experiment a bit, buying this material from here, using that free material from there, using that free video from some other source, etc., etc. Joining this initiative nowadays, whole lot of these marketing traps, which look like courses. So they are dished out as initiatives, but they are. I mean, I'm not dismissing everything, but many of them are just marketing traps, and you keep on wasting your time. And understand that even the most serious of the people will be needing something in the tune of 1.5 to 2 years to prepare very well for the civil service examination, and you are left with exactly 1.5 years. So first, from this chunk, time calculation chunk, the moral of the story is that you do not have time to waste. You have to get into action. One. Second, you don't have to experiment unnecessarily. Okay, because there are a lot of things which look useful. Okay, for example, uh, buying material from the market, this notes, that notes, but reading none of them. Second, watching endless YouTube videos to find motivation to do current affair, to do this, to do that, this topper's talk, that topper's interview. They serve nothing. At the end of the day, UPSC is going to assess you on the basis of whole lot of facts, whole lot of understanding, and how do you express all of them, or using them, how do you solve questions in the prelim examination. That is the assessment, and that is where all the YouTube motivation, all the other motivations, topper stock, topper interview, they will fall flat, and at the end of it you will feel very cheated. Also regret that I had time, I did not use time. So okay, so don't waste time. We waste time in two ways: not initiating the action, or deviating from the action and doing the things which really do not add up. Okay, I have given you the example for that. Now, what is the broad time division? We have already discussed, so we can very well skip that part and we can come to how you are going to use your time now. Okay, so the third thing is, what are your targets for 2024? 2024, when it gets over, what are the things that you should have already done? So first and foremost, you should have completed the general studies foundational areas. What do I mean by general studies foundational areas? These are the areas which are relevant for the prelim and which are also relevant for the main examination. So all the topics in GS1 of the prelim, all the topics, they happen to be present in the main syllabus also. If you look at history and geography, they are the major part of paper 1 of mains GS. If you look at polity and governance, they are the major part of paper 2. If you look at environment, science and tech and economy, they almost 80% constitute what GS paper 3 is all about. Yes, the paper of ethics, integrity and aptitude does not find a place in at all in any imaginable way in the prelim examination, but that's it. All the other areas, they somewhere overlap, barring, let's say, explicitly international relation that is not mentioned in the prelim syllabus. Once in a while, some questions can be asked under the garb of current affair. That is also doable. Then similarly, if some major natural disaster has happened and India has been impacted by them any significantly, then what is also going to be there in your prelim, there is a possibility that a question on that disaster or on that geophysical phenomenon. Okay, and that ways, tiny bit of disaster management you can find in the prelim examination. But what I'm trying to say, that there are 6 undeniable foundational areas of your syllabus. They are on your screen right now. Indian history is there, and mind it, I'm not mentioning it as history, I'm mentioning it as Indian history, because Indian history, and then in the main examination, you also have world history. But world history is something that absolutely does not find even a single question's place in the prelim examination. So we can safely leave that aside. Next is geography. Now, geography is physical geography, Indian geography, world regional geography. Okay. And then you have to study them very, very well, because there are certain physical geography questions which can find a place in environmental ecology. So a lot of people short-sightedly will tell you that अब geography से question कम आते हैं, but if you see, there are many geography questions which look like questions coming from the field of agriculture, which look like questions falling within the domain of environmental ecology. But if you have studied geography, you will find those questions easy to handle. Next is Indian polity, governance and social justice. As a matter of fact, अगर आप prelim के syllabus को देखो, so that basically speaks about Indian polity. But in governance, you basically have to study about India's administration, administrative setup, how does it work and all that. And it is better if you do this part before the prelim and along with the prelim Indian polity. Similarly, if you are also doing social justice, basically why certain government programs are designed the way they are designed, what are the different government programs to help certain groups of our citizens, our population, and all of these. So that gives you a certain level of awareness of the schemes, of the programs, of the government's priorities, all of that, which will help you a lot in solving at least 2-3 questions in the examination. If you don't do this, then what you will be left with is to basically memorize the government schemes and all. And the kind of memorizable tables which are available, they focus on certain facts जो एग्जाम में आते ही नहीं हैं. Therefore, my recommendation is that you simply stick to this broader coverage of Indian polity, governance and social justice. Then comes Indian economy, arguably the biggest area in the civil service prelim examination, general studies, the biggest. If you see, on an average, 20 questions are definitely asked from Indian economy. Whole lot of questions are rooted in the fundamentals, but at the same time, you will see a number of questions which come from recent policy initiatives, recent issues which have been in news. They may not ask current question directly, but they will ask the underlying concept, the underlying knowledge behind that whatever has happened in the recent past. So Indian economy happens to be very important. Similarly, Indian economy is going to make 50% of your main examination paper 3. So can't be ignored. And also scope में भी this is the area कि इसको करने में आपको काफी टाइम लगने वाला है, because one, you prepare the core area, and after preparing the core area, what happens that you are again going to keep it updated. And this is one area where you should update your knowledge base at least twice in a week. Once in the middle of the week, once in the end of the week. अगर आप बहुत hard pressed हो, तो you can do it at the end of the week, but at least this much you will have to do. Otherwise, you will fall behind. Okay. And then you have got environmental ecology, the second largest area in the prelim examination. Since the forest service and civil service prelim examinations have been combined, this happens to be the second largest area. And then science and technology. Science and technology looks like a small area, but if you count the questions, every year about 8 to 10 questions have been asked, again in the garb of current affairs. But these many questions have been asked, and prelim mein, where even a single question can be deciding whether you clear it or not, the area that allows you to handle 10 questions is something which should be given great attention. So that is the set of 6 foundational areas. Now comes the question that how do you approach these areas? What should be your targets? Because जैसे हम बात करते हैं कि हिस्ट्री कर लेना is a very broad, very vague term. So कर लेना is not the thing that I really want you to uh, deal with. I am giving you some concrete suggestions and try to accomplish them. Okay, try to accomplish them. Now, First and foremost, prepare all these areas with super synoptical prelims notes. Okay, super synoptical prelims notes can take the shape of this mind map, the way I have made this mind map. So either you can make a super synoptical prelim notes, or you can make a mind map like this. Then the very same areas, let's say that you are doing Indian history, and this is also an important area in main examination. So you have to pay attention that you do it for the main examination simultaneously. You should not be leaving it for a later point of time. Okay, I'm doing it for the prelim and later I'll be doing it for the main examination. That would not be a greater strategy. So when you are doing it, then there are certain analytical questions, analytical perspective that you will have to bring into the coverage. So all those analytical parts have to go separately in a separate set of mind maps. And then for the prelim, the super important concepts, the super important cause and effect relationship, the facts and everything has to come in a very condensed format. So although you will be attending the classes as one unit, but ultimately you have to be examination aware. And if you are examination aware, then you are basically going to divide the entire thing into how much it is for the prelim and all the remaining things for the main. Yes, when you are revising, it is possible that you will amalgamate both the things within the same revision session. कि पहले prelim का देख लिया, all the key facts, and then what are the analytical questions that can be asked on this, that will be your mains oriented revision. But at the level of making notes, please separate. There will be n number of topics which will be important for both prelim and mains. Fine, you will be studying the same thing on the occasion of prelim and on the eve of the main examination. That is doable. But what I'm trying to say is that the notes have to be separate, because there are lot of analytical areas where you will not be able to find any relevance for the prelim. So why should those analytical perspective pollute, contaminate your prelims notes? Because that will be very long-winded notes, and you will be very reluctant in revising them. So don't do that, okay? Then solve 15 years prelim PYQ. In this period, when you are making these super synoptical notes, so also take it on yourself to solve 15 years of PYQ. There are n number of books which are available in the market which subject wise sort the PYQ, not only subject wise but also segment wise. Uh, they give you the question. I will share link of some of those books, but right now you should pick up one of those books. Okay, 15 years का PYQ you solve after covering an area in the class. So वो करके ना उसके बाद solve करो, and then you have to, you have to find 80% score there. And if you are not finding 80% score, do not be disheartened. Just see what you got wrong. That is a gap in your knowledge despite your best effort. Now, whatever the gap in your knowledge is, fill those gaps with the explanation given in such books. Okay. So that means your performance, right from day one, your performance target for the prelim has to be at 80%. So don't come to me and tell me कि sir like जो cut off है that is around 45%, so why we are targeting that? Don't worry, in the actual examination hall, the people who have been performing at 80% in the test series, that drastically falls to 60% in the actual examination hall. So you have to create all the buffers. Right now you are preparing, you have all the resources at your disposal, you are attending a class. जब सब कुछ हो रहा है, so why should you not aim for 80%? It is possible that you will not be able to achieve that. That's fine. But can you identify the gaps? What were the questions because of which your score dipped below 80%? And how to solve those questions? There are explanations. Read the explanation, add it to your synoptical note. So next time your synoptical note becomes a little more enriched. Okay. And not only you have to do 15 years PYQ, but you also have to do 20 more questions. The market is full of test series. Go buy any test series. So which test series is good? All of them are equally good. Okay. And equally bad. Equally bad because most of the test series, they tend to frame a little harder question than what the UPSC would ask you. That ways, I do not consider them as test series giving you a very realistic understanding of what the UPSC is going to ask. But good in the sense that most of the institutes test series, they are reasonably well researched. They are based on standard textbooks, which you are anyway supposed to read and consolidate material from. So that ways they are good. So right now you have to focus on quantity, and because you are going to solve even more tests in the year 2025. So right now go pick up any 20 test papers so that apart from 15 PYQ, you are also able to solve 20. So in the year 2024 itself, if you can solve 35 papers with 80% accuracy, and if you are not touching that, that is perfectly all right. Actually, आप नहीं touch कर पाओगे, but that should be an impetus to fill the gap. Okay, so using the test questions, enrich your own synoptical notes. That will be hugely helpful. Now, moving to the main examination, you have to write 360 answers. Only 360. The number looks like a very big number, but what we are talking about? We are basically talking about that in the 10 months, you have got 300 days available. Every day, even if you are writing two answers, you will actually end up writing 600 mains ka answer, right? You will be ending up to write 600 mains ka answer. So please get into the habit of writing answers for the main examination. Because when I meet with the students, and nowadays I am meeting a lot of students, and I see their answers, and I realize that these are very well-meaning students. They are at least taking effort that makes them ahead of their 95% competitors. Because 95% of the people, they know the importance of test series. They will talk about the importance of test series, but they won't be actually taking the pains of sitting down and writing even one answer. Somewhere the implicit assumption is that even if we start later, we will be able to do that. Whereas the fact of the matter is, when I see the answer, that most of the students start at a level which is much behind what the UPSC is expecting. Sometimes their introduction will be long and unwieldy. Sometimes they will talk a lot of peripheral things, but they will not hit the core of the query that the question is asking them to address. And all of these answers, despite you having written the answer, would not be getting you the score that you are expecting to get. And the reason is that the question has not been answered. You have written it, but you have not answered the question. It is more like if I ask you to give an account of India's geography, and you start telling me about what a great country India has been, how long its civilizational history has been, how grand its civilizational history has been. In the process, you also touch geography. You also touch geography, but you have filled the answer with so much of unnecessary things that my attention does not even go on what you have said about geography. And that is where you lose marks. And whole lot of students actually do that. So 360 answers for the main is absolutely non-negotiable. वो तो करना ही है. Try to write two answers every day before you sleep, two answers every day for the main examination, and 35 15-year PYQ and 20 more test series sourced from the market you have to solve. And in the prelim, I have already told you that you have to either touch 80% or find the gaps which are not allowing you to touch 80%. And then you will move to the next topic. So that is your first objective, that you are doing the GS foundational areas. Okay. Then you will be coming to your optional subject. Okay. Optional subject at all costs have to be finished in the year 2024 itself. If you have already completed the classes, like everyone sitting in this class has already completed, so that is wonderful. But anyone who is for 2025, by the date of 31st December 2024, your optional should be completed in all the ways possible. And what do I mean optional being completed? When you are talking about optionals, you have to complete the optional with 400 answers. Again, you have 300 days at your disposal So writing 400 answers should not be a problem at all. And getting 400 questions is also not a problem at all. Okay. Now, out of them, 300 can be synoptical answers. Synoptical can be just a bare mention of the concept, bare mention of all the points which are incorporated in the concept. Don't write outline. Give me the all the points. Give me all the points which will go into an answer, so that in the answer, all that you have to do is sentence framing. You don't have to look for facts and concepts here and there. The facts and concepts have already to come in your synoptical answer. So it is synopsis, it is not outline. Outline is like I just give you the name of headings. That is outline. This is synopsis. All the things which are there in your answer have to find a space. For example, this mind map with which I am explaining my plan to you is a synopsis. Every single point I am elaborating. Every single point I am framing full sentences upon, I am explaining it to you. But the all the points which you have to keep in mind is already here. And at the same time, you have to put 100 properly written answers. So 300 which will come in the form of synoptical answer and 100 in the form of full-fledged answers. Now the thing is that if you have chosen your 400 questions well, there is nothing that will be coming from outside of this. At the most you can make 500, right? So let me just revise your target. So let's call it 500, let's call it 400 synoptical answers and 100 proper answers. Proper answers means with proper sentence formation, etc., etc. The way you will be actually writing it for the UPSC examiner. So that is my proper answer definition. So you have to write about 100 proper answers, but 400 synoptical answers. It can take the shape of a mind map, but making sure that you are not leaving out any fact that should go into a given answer. Now, after optional subject, you also have to do within this year itself, you also have to do certain areas of the main examination general studies. Okay. And here you have to be a tiny bit selective. Okay. You have to be a tiny bit selective. Like in international relations, the syllabus is already very well defined. And then all the dimensions of international relation are actually not important for any given year's examination. The kind of things which have been in news in the last 2 years, which have been concerning India in the domain of international relation in the last 2 years, those are the things which are much more important. You pick up the question paper, you see it for yourself. But with help of a teacher, try to finish internal security, उसके पहले international relation, disaster management, then post-independence Indian history. These are the 4 areas which will not take much time. If done properly, every single area can ideally be done in a matter of 7 to 10 days, if done properly. If someone does not know how to do this, it can take more amount of time. But if done properly, that is the amount of time it will take. And if your time allows, if your time allows, then world history should also be covered. So here I'm just writing if time allows. Okay. And then what happens? That यहाँ पे आपका target ये होना चाहिए that in these areas prepare synoptical or mind map notes plus 120 answers, and all the 120 answers have to be synoptical. Do not get into proper answer writing for these areas. After the prelim examination, you will be getting ample opportunity to write these kind of properly framed answers. So go for synoptical answer, because the beauty of the synoptical answer is that once you have prepared them, they will at least be 5xing your revision speed. Something that you can do in 5 minutes, you will be able to do in 1 minute's time. Therefore, synoptical answers are a very, very important pillar. And whenever you are making notes also, so do not make notes like a book, proper sentences and all that. These are your full-fledged answers that you will be anyway practicing 100 answers within this year itself, and 100 answers properly written are more than adequate to give you a balance in your answer as you will be presenting it in the examination. And the remaining answers have to be synoptical so that you are able to revise them as fast as possible. Now, in 10 months, you have got 40 weeks. Every Sunday, write an essay, and rest of the week, you collect the material on that essay. That will be a beautiful diversion from what you are already doing as core preparation. Like core preparation is your optional. Core preparation is the concrete areas of general studies. You are already doing that. But at the same time, even if you set aside about, say, 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day, but in those 30 to 45 minutes, you are only doing research on the topic upon which you are going to write on Sunday. It will be a beautiful diversion. It will be giving you the mental stimulation to go beyond the strict boundaries of general studies, strict boundaries of your optional subject, and at the same time, you will be practicing the beautiful art of essay writing. Lot of candidates they leave it for the last moment. Like prelim के बात करेंगे, नहीं develop होती उतनी जल्दी essay writing skills. Therefore, 40 essays you have to write. Okay. Now you will be wondering where to get the topics. So there are two ways to get the topics. First and foremost, see what topic is trending, and then take one step behind or take two steps behind, and you will understand कि हाँ ये तो पूछा जा सकता है. For example, if we talk about technology, so AI is practically impacting so many dimensions of our economy, so many dimensions of how we conduct businesses of any economy. AI is so much impacting. AI is also speeding up whole lot of research and developmental work. For example, in space technology, in the field of biotechnology, in the field of genomic medicine, whatever. Now, one of the obvious ways to identify the topic is impact of AI on the society. That is one. Take a step behind and see what can be the larger topic. So technology is changing the society faster than ever. That is your one step behind. Take one more step behind, and then you get that the growth of the society cannot only be left to be driven by technology. Now you pick up any one of them. If you are a beginning student, then pick up the first level topic. Okay, that is impact of AI on society. After 3-4 weeks, you can take the next higher level. After that, you can take the next higher level topic. So pick up whatever is trending in the newspaper. Okay, whatever is trending in the newspaper, and then write upon it. For example, this is also the year of general election. Can we prepare an essay on what influences voters' behavior in the Indian democracy? How voter education is so important for the health of democracy. All of these are worthwhile topics for the essay. So the prompt for the essay topic will start coming from the newspaper, provided you are thinking, and thinking is anyway necessary. Otherwise, you will anyway not be able to add the punch to your general studies preparation or write effective essays. So वो thinking की exercise तो हमें लगानी है. So these are your targets. Are your targets for the year of 2024. Your 2024 should end with completing these foundational areas, like you can see here, completing all these foundational areas. Plus, how do you declare that they are completed? So all the chapters which are to be done, you are preparing super synoptical notes for the prelim. You are preparing synoptical notes for the mains, especially for those dimensions which are strictly for the mains. Then you are going to solve 15 PYQ plus 20 more tests with 80% accuracy, or filling the gaps which prevented you from getting 80% accuracy. After that, what you are going to do? You are going to solve at least 360 questions, and out of them you may write 60 in a full-fledged manner, and you will be writing 300 in outline manner. So इसको भी मैं update कर देता हूँ. So 60 is proper answers plus 300 synoptical. Because the task at hand is so big that we have to find efficiency wherever we can find efficiency. Apart from that, obviously, you have to finish your optional subject now with the revised target of 500 answers, and out of them, if you see, out of that uh, 500 answers, out of them 400 are going to be synoptical and 100 have to be properly written. Then you have to finish certain areas of main examination general studies. That will be hugely advantageous. Start with international relation because it will have some relevance for the prelim examination. Come to internal security. That can again about the internal security related organizations and all that you can be asked question. Then come to disaster management. Under geography or under environment, one or two disaster management questions I have always seen coming once in 2-3 years. So a little advanced preparedness is not going to hurt you. After that, you come to post-independence Indian history. Once you understand the post-independence Indian history, you not only start analyzing the present status of Indian political system better, but you also start understanding the Indian economy better, Indian foreign relations better, Indian society better. So all of these things you anyway have to do. And world history is something only when time allows you. Okay. So that's what. And after that, writing essay is very, very important foundation for the 2025. 40 essays must be written in this year. That means one essay a week for next 10 months. And initially your essays will not be well aligned, well written. Therefore, it is very important to get feedback. Who does the feedback come from? Feedback can come from your teacher. Feedback can come from a senior. For that matter, when it comes to essay, feedback can come even from a family member. Okay. Once they read the essay, they can very well tell you whether in the language you have shown verbosity or you have been compact but hitting the point right where it should be hit. Similarly, have you made your arguments coherently? Have you substantiated your arguments well or not? All of these things, they determine the quality of the essay. So if you do not find anyone who will give you a proper structured feedback, rope in a family member, but do this. बस लिखो भेज दो कि please go through. If you have a senior, जस्ट ईमेल कर दो उनको कि आप एक बार देखकर और मुझे ब्रूटल फीडबैक देना, किसी से फीडबैक मत मांगो, टेल देम ब्रूटल फीडबैक दो, टेल मी व्हाट ऑल यू डिड नॉट लाइक and learn to take the criticism because that will be helping you to improve. Feedback does not have to be beautiful, encouraging feedback. Okay, then your targets for 2025, 8 months are there. So first 2 months, that is January and February, finish revising all the 400 answers of your optional subject in these 2 months. Now it has gone to 500. So finish revising all the 500 all the 500 answers that you have written. So in a month you have to revise how many? In a month you have to do 250. That will mean that you are basically working at a rate of about 12 answers a day. Can you do revision of 12 answers a day? Yes, you can do it if it is a synoptical answer. For example, if I ask you that ये flow chart को revise करने में कितना वक्त लगेगा, you will say 10 minutes. And that is entirely true. जबकि इस flow chart में there is much more. इस mind map में there is much more content than what you will be including in a given answer. So when you have made a super synoptical answer, then this synoptical answer is something that is going to be revised in less than 5 minutes. But let us give even 10 minutes to each answer. So 120 answers, 12 answers a day is like simply doing what? Uh, Simply doing 2 hours, and that is all. So 2 hours and you are sorted, but please do that. Otherwise, whatever you have done in the optional subject for the entire 2024, that will start evaporating. And remember that for the next 3 months, that is March, April, and May, you are not going to touch your optional. And since you are not going to touch your optional, it is very, very important that you come out of that burden uh, mm, in the month of Jan and Feb, and that will help you stay confident until the end of the prelim. और उसके बाद तो फिर से you will be picking up your optional. Then in these 2 months, every day solve 50 questions. That will mean that over a period of 60 days, you would have solved 30 papers. And again, the same strategy that you maintain the 80% accuracy or learn to fill the gaps. And then whatever the synoptical notes that you have made for the prelim, I would imagine that these notes will be about 1000 pages, not more than that if you have handwritten them, right? So, and they are synoptical. So in 60 days, you have to revise them. So basically every day you are going to do almost 20 pages, 20 pages of handwritten stuff the entire day, because optional is going to take only 2 hours. These tests are going to take another 2 hours. So only 4 hours. So what you are left with? You are left with at least 5 to 7 hours of self-studies time. And in 5 to 7 hours, can it be anybody's argument that we cannot do 20 pages a day? Answer is no. And this is where you also solve your CSAT problem. So CSAT is not an equal problem for all the candidates. Say you are an engineer. There is a natural familiarity with the numbers. There is a natural lack of fear for the kind of questions that can come in CSAT. Suppose you are an engineer who has prepared for management entrance examination. You are going to be all the more confident. If you are someone who has prepared for banking examination, again CSAT is going to come very handy. Say you have done none of these, of course, your CSAT problem is bigger. And 60 days of very intense work for CSAT, about 2 to 3 hours a day, that will be more than enough. So how do I see all of this thing being playing out? So this is 2 hours a day. If you think कि मैंने बहुत कुछ बोल दिया और आपके पास अब टाइम ही नहीं है, and my proposition was a very theoretical one, answer is no, it is not theoretical one. Now, can you see this? This is 11-hour recipe. And if in your examination year, in January and February, you are not studying 11 hours, then perhaps you are not understanding the enormity of the civil service challenge. You are not understanding how many driven students who are already as well prepared as you are, or perhaps a little better, are also appearing in the same examination. So it is very important to respect this examination and gear up for that. ओके, सो वी आर नॉट फूलिंग आवरसेल्व्स हियर. सो या तो हम तैयारी कर रहे हैं या फिर हम अपने आप से कह रहे हैं कि हम तैयारी नहीं कर रहे, राइट? अब हम 2026 में देंगे, बट अगर करना है, इफ यू रियली वांट टू क्रैक 2025 एग्जामिनेशन, देन इन जनवरी आई कैन इजीली सी यू पुटिंग 11 to 12 hours a day, easily. Now, if I'm saying 30 prelim test papers, so what I'm meaning, 50 questions per day. So why would take, okay, 50 questions a day? So why it would take 50 questions a day, 2 hours? Because 50 questions are going to take hardly 1 hour to solve. But then you are going to learn from your mistakes also. Now your mistakes will be fewer. So those gaps you can fill easily in the next 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then read the entire thing. जो आपने सही किया वो भी देखो, और जो गलत किए हैं जहां पे आपने कुछ सीखा है उसको भी देखो. Therefore, I am giving it 2 hours. Although on the surface of it, it will look like 1 hour examination, but 1 hour is something when you are only solving and forgetting it. But here you are solving and learning, so it is going to take time. Then next is अपने फाउंडेशनल प्रीलिम नोट्स को अब एकदम से इंटरनलाइज करने पे लग जाओ, राइट? तुमने पिछले साल बहुत अच्छा काम किया कि सोर्सेज से पढ़े, क्लासेस की, अब आपके पास कंसोलिडेटेड नोट्स हैं, और जैसे जैसे आप टेस्ट दे रहे थे वो नोट्स कंसोलिडेट होते चले गए, वो नोट्स एनरिच होते चले गए, राइट? क्योंकि टेस्ट में अगर कोई क्वेश्चन गलत हुआ तो यू हैव बीन एबल टू pick up that fact, pick up that concept, and been able to incorporate that. So you have done all of this, understanding. So now that you have done all of this, so your notes are the only source that you have to do. So how much time it will be taking? It is going to take not more than 4 hours per day. That's it. 20 pages. लेकिन फिर भी आप जितनी minutely करोगे, so it is going to save you time. So if you have time here, So if left with time, add current affairs. And remember, although you have to read the newspaper, but you have to revise from compilations. Read the newspapers, but revise from the compilations, because compilations are consolidated, and if you start making that amount of notes, you will go nuts. So don't do that. So if you can revise your 20 pages, let's say in 2 hours, give another 2 hours to just do current affairs from the compilations. If not, then try to give at least uh, some spare time, because it is just 11-hour plan on current affairs. Direct current affair based questions are not too many, but a familiarity always gives you the confidence. Then, as we talked about, that solve your CSAT problem between January and February only. And then we come to the next 3 months segment, that is March, April, and May. How do we go about it? First and foremost, now 2 times revise all your foundational prelim notes. How much time it is going to take? 4 hours a day, not more than that, because something that you have just now completed one revision cycle, now your revision time will be halved. Therefore, the amount of time, if you increase it to 4, it is more than adequate. Now you are in the next 90 days, you are going to solve 60 test papers. Again, every day it is a 2 hours exercise. All right. And then जितने टेस्ट अभी तक किए हैं उन सबको रिवाइज करो, उन सब का आंसर देखो. इट इज अ सुपर पावर दैट लॉट ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स इग्नोर. It is a superpower that lot of candidates will ignore, that they do not want to revise whatever they have done before. But what happens that even if we have solved a test, we do forget कि इसका क्या आंसर होगा. So when you revise, all of that hard work comes back in your mind, and then using that, using these tests that you are solving, you are going to do much better in the prelim examination. And last but not the least, here there is one more thing, that is practice CSAT minimum of 2 hours a day. Even if you are good, right? Say you have prepared for management entrance, you have prepared for banking and all that. Even if you are good, in these 3 months, every day 2 hours, you have to practice CSAT questions. How many questions you have to practice? You have to practice about 40 questions a day. Okay, half of the paper. So well, that is the March, April and May. Now, how many hours we are looking at? 10 hours. Keep 2 hours in buffer. Or if you are still clueless कि क्या करना है, तो obviously current affairs. How much time? 2 hours a day. Now it is your 12-hour recipe, right? So this is your 12-hour recipe. Uh, this is exactly 12 hours. 4 uh, 8 to 10 and to 12. This is how it should look like. Then the last 3 months, it is all about the mains. And if you have stuck to your plan until now, you will not be panicked. Even when the entire world is panicking about the main, you will not be panicked because you have done the job. So now what you are going to do is to update your general studies, because Indian polity is going to need updates. Certain geophysical phenomena, Indian society is going to need an update. In a similar fashion, governance, social justice, international relation, economy, science and tech, environment, etc. They all are going to need update. Here you have to take help of ready-made materials. Okay, do not try to update it all on your own. Second is actively recall all your notes. Means now try to recall. Don't merely read. Try to rewrite it again. Because until you write, you won't be able to consolidate it so much, memorize it so well that you will be able to produce on a blank sheet of the main examination. So this exercise is definitely going to take minimum 3 hours a day, but that will be crucial to fill the gap that you have already. वो gap तो है, उसको fill करना होगा. In these 3 months, do ethics, integrity and aptitude, that is paper 4 of GS. If you want to do it in 3 months time, actually it can very easily be done. if you are having some classes happening and all that. So it can very easily be done 2 hours multiplied by 30 days. Okay, that is all it takes. So आप ये पेपर को अब फिनिश कर रहे हो और उसके बाद active recall of all your GS notes is very, very important. You give it 4 hours a day because that will allow you to finish the GS paper well. Active recall of your main optional synopsis. This is at least 3 hours. You can take it to 4 hours. All right. So this is your recipe. 3 hours, 4 hours. चलो इसको भी 4 hour ही कर लेते हैं सीधा. So why to keep it? So again it is 11-hour recipe. Now do you see this part? 2 hours multiplied by 30 days. So उन दिनों तो you will have a burden of almost 13 hours. Answer is yes, it will be a short term burden. जून में शुरू करोगे, जून में ही फिनिश कर लोगे. सो आइदर यू कैन डू दैट, या फिर आप ऐसा कर सकते हो कि फर्स्ट यू फिनिश दिस, उसके बाद यू कैन अपडेट योर जनरल स्टडीज. So this part, updating your general studies, comes here. All right, and this I will wait. This I will apply here. That in ethics, integrity, and aptitude, you have to invest 2 hours for 30 days, and then you update the GS 3 hours. ठीक है, for remaining 60 days. Oftentimes लोग बहुत बड़ी गलती करते हैं that this part is neglected, optional, and you will regret the next year. Understand that 4 hours to optional is going to secure you 300 plus marks. But even if you have given 4 plus 3, 7 hours to the general studies, so it is going to secure you something like max 450 marks in all the 4 papers together. All right. So there the percentage is going to be 45%, and here the percentage is going to be close to 60-65%. And then this is the stage when you should be taking test series as well. So go sit in the test series, write full-fledged answer, get feedback, and get better with every like test. So that is how it has gone. So I hope you have set the targets for 2025. So 2024 targets we set, 2025 targets we set, and I have shown you how it is a practical thing to be implemented. If you are wondering that it is going to take 14, 16 hours and it will throw your life out of balance, it is not. Finally, how to make it happen. So the first thing that I will talk about is resources. First resources, first set of resources happen to be a standard books. You have to have. आप उसको पढ़ो ना पढ़ो, that is another thing, but you have to have. Okay, whether you read it or not, at least standard books होने से क्या होता है कि it creates a backup that there you are attending the coaching classes. Agreed? And I'm talking about GS. Okay, so you are attending a coaching class. Now what will happen that there may be some concept जो आपको अच्छे से समझ में नहीं आया. There may be some concept where your coaching class rushed through the topic and you know कि ये जरूरी हो सकता है. Then of course you will read from the standard book. Now we come to the second set of resource. The second set of resources, a good coaching class, because it puts everything together and gives it to you in your ready to assimilate form. So these are your two principal uh, like resources, and without the right resources, it is 1 second. We are here. Without the right resources, we are actually not going to make a good use of our time and everything. Okay, so that's about resources. Now last part of my presentation here, things to keep in mind. First and foremost, take your decision fast. If you think you have to join a class, go ahead, join it. If you think you have to buy this book, go ahead, buy this, so that you are not wasting your time. If you think that I have to start Indian polity, go ahead and start. अभी immediate नहीं भी जरूरी होगा, काम तो आएगा ही आपके prelim में. So then act upon it. Next is join a class if you have to. If you are not good in a subject, let's say you are not good in 5 out of all the subjects of general studies, it simply means you have to join a class. If you are deluding yourself that मैं खुद से कर लूंगा, notes पढ़ के कर लूंगा, ये करके कर लूंगा, उस टॉपर ने कर लिया, उस टॉपर ने कर लिया, I'm I'm more of the opinion that most of the students need a teacher's assistance. Most of the students. अभी भी मैं एक group of students को पढ़ा रहा हूँ, like almost 500 students sit in my class. But I can tell you that interacting with all the students, I can safely tell you that out of 500 students, minimum 450 need a teacher. Minimum 450 need a teacher. So 90% of us need a teacher who can simplify, who can give a structure, who can make the boundaries कि इसके बाहर नहीं पढ़ना है. All of these things are very vital. अगर हम खुद से करते रहेंगे तो we will be lost. It will be a never-ending journey. So do not unnecessarily experiment just because there are some scattered resources available here and there on the internet, on in the form of YouTube, a lot of Telegram channels and all that. और हमें लगता है कि हो जाएगा. The price that you pay is 1 year of your youth. And if you do not realize what mistake you conducted, then it may cost you 6 years of your youth, and then you will be looking for what to do next. So don't do that. And talking of the material, scattered material do not count much. You need consolidated material. Like in your school days, let us say that in your civics book, uh, one chapter is lying somewhere on Indian Parliament. Another chapter is thrown somewhere. Another chapter is thrown somewhere. All of them written differently by different people. And then you feel that, okay, I can collect all of this. I can read, I can make sense, and I'll be very good in civics. I'll be very good in mathematics. That does not happen. So scattered material mean nothing in academics. This is something we have to honestly, brutally admit, because we are going to face India's toughest examination, arguably the world's toughest and multi-stage competitive examination. Then in some way or the other, every day assess yourself, either through objective questions or through some answer, but keep assessing every day. Go back to the school days, every single chapter, how every single chapter used to have the chapter end exercise, and then you would do that. So why do you do that? The answer lies only in that once you have learned something, test it within the context of questions. Next is कुछ भी हो जाए, अगर आप इस एग्जाम के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो, लर्न टू मेक सेल्फ नोट्स. इट टेक्स टाइम, यस इट विल टेक टाइम. Whole lot of toppers said, I did not make notes. You have no mechanism to verify. People make whole lot of claims. There are some toppers who get selected, then they get list of books from their professors, from their coaching institute, and then they share the list of books. How do I know? I have helped some of my toppers. Select होने के बाद सर कौन सी बुक बतानी है, right? So you don't have any mechanism to verify. But one of the safest ways to do well in the examination is to make notes of everything that you are reading. And notes do not have to be beautiful. Notes do not have to be textbookish. Notes means like मेरे दिमाग में इतने थॉट्स थे, मैंने उसको डिस्टिल करके इस टेस्ट इस माइंड मैप के फॉर्म में रखा है. दैट इज व्हाट माय नोट्स आर. You give these notes to me and I can give this talk any day. So that's what the notes are. Read the newspapers. It will give you the broader concept that no compilation will give you. It will improve your language. It will give you the points to argue. And finally, it will add a depth to whatever you are going to write, whatever you are going to talk. And all of these things are superpowers when it comes to cracking the civil service examination. So read the newspaper, but at the same time, do not make elaborate notes. Just some pointers and all that. But anything more than that is not necessary. Rest of the things will be taken care of by the supplements, by the compilations. Then aim for sustainability. First and foremost, create an input calendar. Input calendar means कि आज मैं इतना करूंगा. Don't plan for output. You do not know उतने टाइम में आप कर पाओगे कि नहीं कर पाओगे. Let us say कि जब आप कहते हो ना कि I will finish Indian polity in 20 days. That never happens. मैंने किसी का होते हुए नहीं देखा है, right? और अगर होता भी है तो उतने दिन वो अपने ऑप्शनल को नहीं पढ़ रहे होते हैं. So rather than that, you simply said कि I'll study Indian polity 2 hours every day with total commitment. I will not be distracted. I will not be doing anything else. For example, I'm talking to you right now. So I'm not taking any phone call. My phone is buzzing. but I'm not taking any phone call. I'm nobody can knock my doors, and so on and so forth. I'm totally into the moment, right? So exactly in the same manner, you have to, okay, exactly in the same manner, you have to uh, give an input time. क्या होगा? Something that you wanted to do in 20 days will be done in 25 days. Next time you will pick up a speed and you will do it better. But always plan for input, don't plan for output. A lot of people will say, think of the output and all that. You cannot predict the output. How do you know that you can do Indian polity in 20 days? You can do Indian polity in 20 days if you suspend everything. But you have to do your optional, you have to do the newspaper, perhaps you are attending classes, नहीं होगा वो. So how do you do it? डिसाइड कि 2 घंटे देने, अगर क्लास कर रहे हो आपके पास ऑलरेडी कंसोलिडेटेड नोट्स हैं, डिसाइड कि आफ्टर द क्लास आई विल गिव 1 hour undiluted with full intensity. That will take care. Second, block the time. Don't say I will study Indian polity for 1 hour a day. That never happens again. Say 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is my Indian polity time, and at all costs you do that. That's what. Then balance. You have to balance your study with your physical health. Physical health depends on basically two things: how much you are eating, when you are eating, and what you are eating. And second thing, are you exercising or not? And physical health will improve your mental performance. You have to do this to believe this. If you are not exercising, you are operating at 50% of what you can operate. I have seen this from my personal experience. I used to weigh 100 plus kilograms. Today, I weigh much less than that. Then also, I was much younger, so then also I was deep into academics, but my academic performance has improved since I have been a little careful about my health. So I basically just look after what I'm eating, when I'm eating, how much I'm eating, only these three things, and any basic form of exercise. Like I can only go for, say, long brisk walk, I'll go for that only. Someday a light run, I'll go for that only. Someday some stretching exercise, but I make sure that 40 hours, 40 minutes, I'm sorry, 40 minutes a day, I'm moving. And even if I'm not doing it for my body, I'm doing it for my cognitive performance. There are enough pieces of research which will tell you the same thing. Then learn to relax. Therefore, I never advocate anyone to work more than 10 to 12 hours. So 10 to 12 hours are more than enough so that it gives you some time to relax. One of the biggest form of relaxation is 7 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and then a little bit of nap here and there, some breathing exercise, if you can do meditation. So these all will help you a lot. And lastly, relations with your immediate family, then with your friends and all. Healthy relation will keep you in a very, very good emotional state, and that will again be improving your performance. So try to balance. Ability to say no. No sometimes has to be said through your mouth. No sometimes has to be said just by your deliberate action. For example, I'm taking this class. There are 3 calls that I missed, and that is my way of saying no. Yesterday, I was taking a class, 500 students. I gave them the tips of how to write answers. Then I said that, okay, now what I'm going to do that after my class, I'm going to give you one question every day. And then one student asks me that, sir, will you be able to check the answer? I said, no, I can't. And I won't be doing something for one student which I cannot scale it up for all the students. So I said, I'll be giving you model answer, and you are grown up enough to compare my model answer with your answer and evaluate yourself. And if you can't do that, then I can help you in my area. How are you going to sustain in other areas? So I said no because I can't do it. You understand? So people will be putting demand on your time, attention, and all that, and you have to say no. That will give you the time, energy, and attention all to concentrate upon what needs to be concentrated upon. Staying the course. There will be a day for one or the other reason. If nothing, maybe just because you are not feeling like it, you won't be doing it. But then next day you come back to it. One day of not sticking to your plan should not deviate you. Just promise yourself that I will not leave my good habit for more than 2 days in a row. So let's say today you couldn't study. Okay. tomorrow you were again not able to study. Third day you have to get back. So कुछ भी हो जाए, my good habits are going to like be implemented with such consistency कि I cannot stay off it for more than 2 days in a row. Then in the morning, talk in present tense with yourself. आज मैंने इंडियन पॉलिटी पे 1 घंटे का वक्त दिया है। आज मैंने ऑप्शनल के 10 आंसर्स लिखे हैं, सिनॉप्सिस बनाई है, बहुत अच्छी सिनॉप्सिस बनाई है। आज मैंने ये किया। टॉक इन प्रेजेंट टेंस, दैट सेट्स योर इंटेंट फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ द डे। व्हेन यू से आई विल डू दैट, वो नहीं आता। व्हेन यू टॉक कि मैंने कर लिया है, व्हेन यू टॉक इन प्रेजेंट टेंस और प्रेजेंट परफेक्ट, एज इफ कि आप रात में ये बातें अपने आप को कह रहे हो, राइट? आज मैंने 2 घंटे की क्लास की है एंड विद सो मच अटेंशन दैट नथिंग कुड डिस्टर्ब मी, और मैंने हर चीज को समझा है, हर इंपॉर्टेंट चीज को नोट किया है। सो एवरी डे इन द मॉर्निंग बिफोर यू स्टार्ट योर वर्क, सो मॉर्निंग गेट रेडी, डू एक्सरसाइज, हैव ब्रेकफास्ट, एंड देन बिफोर यू स्टार्ट योर वर्क, जस्ट क्लोज योर आइज, टेक 5 deep breaths और अपने इंटेंट को सेट करो बाय टॉकिंग टू योरसेल्फ इन प्रेजेंट टेंस, एंड देन डेली रिव्यू बिफोर यू गो ऑफ टू स्लीप। रिकॉल ऑल दैट जो आपने अपने आप से प्रेजेंट टेंस में कहा था, और सी कि कहाँ पे क्या नहीं कर पाए हो नेक्स्ट डे, एंड देन प्रॉमिस योरसेल्फ टुमारो आई विल डू बेटर, एंड देन टेक केयर ऑफ योरसेल्फ एंड बी काइंड टू योरसेल्फ। देयर मे बी 7 days जब आप अपने एफर्मेशंस को पूरा नहीं कर पाओगे, बट बी काइंड टू योरसेल्फ, गिव योरसेल्फ टाइम, you will be rising to the task, and meet with those people, interact with those people, listen to those people, read the writings of those people who inspire and motivate you. Even the best of the people will someday need it. So, well, that is your work plan for sustainability. Understood? And that brings my roadmap for 2025 to an end. Now I am open for all your questions, and this mind map I will export it in a proper outline format, and I will be sharing with you so that you can download and you can make your own action. Now time for all your questions. That's all.